Hey everyone, and welcome to Get Celebritized. I'm your host, Aurea McGarry, where I bring you amazing people every single week that help you earn more so you can live more, live a big, vivacious, juicy legacy life, and so you can give back more to the people and causes that matter most to you. Well, today is a very special day, as is every week. I know I say that because I bring you such great people to inspire you for your wildest dreams to come true. And today is no exception. Today I'm bringing on a really good friend of mine who serves on the board of governors of the Emmy Awards here in the Southeast chapter. And he is such a phenomenal talent. Wait till you hear from him. So Dr. Henry Panion III, PhD. He is in 2023, Dr. Panion was inducted into the Alabama Music Hall of Fame. But that's not all. He's a three-time Emmy Award winner, including the prestigious Silver Circle Award for over 25 years in the industry. Dr. Panion's work has produced 3 Grammy Awards and a host of other national music awards and nominations. He is most known for his work with conducting and arranging for the pop icon Stevie Wonder. I think you've heard of him, right? An association that has spanned over 30 years. He holds the distinguished titles of University Professor and Director of Music Technology at the University of Alabama, UAB, and other artists for whom Dr. Panion has had the opportunity to conduct and arrange include Aretha Franklin, Shaka Khan, the Winans, Lionel Richie, Robin Thicke, LeAnn Rimes, Bootsy Collins, and American Idol winners Carrie Underwood, Taylor Hicks, and Ruben Studdard. He has worked with more than 50 orchestras across the globe, including the Royal Philharmonic in England, the Melbourne Symphony in Australia, the Rio de Janeiro Philharmonic in Brazil, and so many more. Well, let me, without any further ado, introduce you to the amazing Dr. Henry Panion.
How you
Good
doing?
afternoon. Welcome.
Thank you. How you doing?
It is so good to have you here on the show, Henry. You are such a treat. You're so talented, but so humble. You have the biggest heart and the biggest smile that I am just so glad to let the audience get to know you because you are what we say, living the dream. But let me ask you, is this the dream? Was where you are today your little boy dream?
I think so. I am fortunate that I've been in music my whole life. Started at a very very young age. Not really knowing that I would end up being a professional, as it were, or college professor even. But definitely a dreamer. And I always joke about the fact that I remember just playing like boys do with my friends, basketball, street ball, whatever. And then, but coming in the house with my sister watching Sounds of Music and the things that she liked and thinking, I can't let them know I'm watching Sound of Music, my friends. But I've been had some wonderful experiences along the way that has sort of like got me to the next level, to the next level, to the next
I've
level.
got to
Yes.
ask you though,
Mhm.
while you were watching The Sound of Music, were you dreaming of being a singer, a musician? Were you sitting there as a little boy pretending to be a conductor? Connect those dots for us. What was going through your mind and your heart when you were watching The Sound of Music as a child?
Well, I don't know necessarily if I was thinking about being a conductor or even being a musician. I just know that I was so captivated by the music, be they musicals, be they movies, television shows. I'm the kind of individual who, as I grew up, if I had a boom box, I was taping marching band contests. I weren't listening to hip hop necessarily on my boom box, but I do remember watching Leonard Bernstein as a
Oh,
conductor.
yeah.
As a young child, he would do Saturday shows with him in the New York Philharmonic. And just, yeah, it's a pinch me moment. The moment one day the New York Philharmonic has programmed my music to play. And yeah, that's pretty surreal. Uh, but, but no, but I've dreamed along the way and I've always had positive reinforcement
That's
around me. Uh, and I think that necessarily might have been the key. Opportunities, positive reinforcement. and just really one thing led to the other. So that's kind of really a lifelong kind of journey, a story in just a few sentences there.
So when did you know that you wanted to be a conductor? You say musician and conductor. And I know my daughter is a singer. She knows the music industry much better than I do. When I was watching movies, I wanted to be the star. You know, I wanted to be the Julie Andrews, right? So when you say musician and conductor, do conductors have to be a musician first? Like, do you play instruments and then you graduated to be a conductor? Tell me a little
Absolutely.
bit about how that worked.
Absolutely. So when had matriculated through high school, I knew that I wanted to go to college to be a music major. Actually, I wanted to be a high school band director because I
Hmm.
really just thought my band director was close to God, and it would really disturb my friends and my parents. It's like every time you turn around, Henry, you either going to band practice or you're coming from band practice. But when I went to college, and a lot of my friends were going into pre-med or biology or whatever they're into, I wanted to be a music major at that point and wanted to be a band director. But when I got to college, I had an opportunity to audition and become drum major in undergrad. And fortunately, where I went to undergrad, which was Alabama A&M University, the marching band, the drum majors took control of the rehearsals. So it gave me a chance to, in addition to taking conducting classes, literally conduct the large ensemble. So I started arranging, and if you know anything about HBCU show bands, the goal there is to have a really exciting show and really writing music that's new music that's on the charts every week. So all these things are happening simultaneously. And in those days, there weren't computers to score your music. So
Hmm.
the band directors would give the music majors that were selected scores to literally just copy the parts. You would literally just write and copy the parts. So I'll never forget three arrangements that I was copying on the side, saying that I hope that one day I'll be able to present this to the band to see if they'll just read my music. So they were Earth, Wind, and Fire is in the Stone, Michael Jackson's Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, and I think Rocky theme. That's just like it tells you what was out when I was in college and undergrad. So I presented to the band director saying that, maybe this is an off day. Would you all read my music? And he said, no, student, we're not going to read your music. It's not going to happen. But fortunate for me, that very next year, the head band director went back to the University of Michigan to finish his doctorate. And they needed some arrangements. And I said, okay, let me see if I can pitch them again. So the second band director now becomes head band director, and I pitched them. He said, I'll tell you what, we'll read them on an off day, and we'll see. They read my music. Not only that, they programmed my music. So
Mm.
imagine me being drum major now on the 50-yard line at what is called the Magic City Classic, which is the leading HBCU football classic in America still. And there I am as a music major conducting my music. I thought I could have died and gone to heaven. But what I did was I submitted those scores to uh, to universities around the country, and Ohio State offered me a full ride for the master's and a PhD. And then, but still, that did not lead necessarily to opportunities to conduct. Because people will always ask me, "Well, how do you meet Stevie? Or how do you meet Quincy? Or how did all that happen?" And each one of these goals and aspirations or achievements, I couldn't pick up a phone and call a Stevie. It doesn't work that way. Stevie, here I am. I'm really good. Will you hire me? It doesn't work
You
that way.
need to know me, right?
So, but typically, there's a scripture and a passage that people will say your gift will make room for you, and and,
Mm.
and I do believe that basically I had begun to do things where people began to hear about me, and in my 30+ year career, and we can dig into that if you want in all aspects of it, but every one of the best opportunities I've had and the ones that have been continuous, uh, even to the point that I'm receiving Emmys. It's like, wait a minute. I'm a musician. How did I even get into this film and TV world? You look up one day, you're involved in it as a filmmaker because of the experiences. But they've been one thing have led to another one. So I'm very fortunate. It started very early on, and I'm still, after many years later, still as hungry and as hopeful. I am as passionate about it. And I feel honored to be able to be an active professional musician. And I'll stop there for now because I could
I
ramble all day
love
long.
that. You said so much, and my audience really, I love to give them hope because, especially after the pandemic, when so many people had to pivot, maybe some lost hope on their dreams, maybe they're doing something that they thought they'd never do, which isn't a good thing. Others are like not where they want to be, they got derailed. So I really love my program, my guests to give hope. And you're so happy where you are, you're living your dream, which is when you're doing what you're called to do. I always, when in the acting world, when I was an actress, they said 10% of people in the acting world are getting paid to be an actor. You know, we do so much for free in community theater, but to get that job is so few and far between. So when you meet people that are doing what they love, being able to get paid for it and getting honored for it, it's not like, okay, everybody wants to be rich and famous. No, it's imagine being able to do whatever it is you know you're called to do, whether you're a social worker, whether it's you're owning a nonprofit, whether you want to be an artist, a photographer, whatever it is. So you're living the dream because you're smiling and you're happy with what you're doing. And I always say success is being in the right place at the right time with the right preparation. And that's what I'm hearing from what you just said, that everything was stepping stones. You didn't come out of college and, hey, Stevie was out there. Stevie wanted to meet you and Shaka Khan and all these people. Hey, come on, we're ready for you. It was a process. So talk to us a little bit about maybe some of the biggest breaks that happen for you to be able to work with the Quincy Joneses and the Stevie Wonders, to give our audience hope to know that, okay, great things could be around the corner for them.
Yeah, I'll give you one important one.
Okay.
I had been invited to arrange music for a very, very large church convention. The same organization that John Legend comes out of. He was actually a keyboard player in one of our churches, and as a young man, and I was so excited because I knew of this young group called the Winans that Andre Crouch had signed, and I just used to love their songs. But they were the guests one year, and my job was to take an artist's hit songs, rewrite them for them, but also feature a small little church orchestra and the large choir, our church convention choir. But it was the Winans, and I was like, oh my goodness, I couldn't wait to meet them. Well, not only did they arrive late to the convention, they said that, Henry, we don't know if we can do this with you all. We haven't had a chance to rehearse it, X, Y, and Z. There are all these reasons, and there are always reasons why not to do something.
Yeah.
And many times they're legitimate. But he just saw me just sinking because he knew how disappointed I was about to be. I had not met him before. And Marvin looked at me and said, Henry, I tell you what, we're going to save the two songs that you arranged for us to the very end of the concert. We're going to do them with your group. We'll have our group close by just in case. He said, but if anything goes wrong, we're going to tell this audience of 7,000 people that you're the reason it failed. so we did the performance, and it was such an enormous hit during the show that the crowd wouldn't let us stop. So after the concert, Marvin Winans come to me. He said, Henry, he said, boy, that was really great. He said, I tell you what, if we ever get a chance to work together again, we will. Now that's all the entree, the door opening that I needed. So 2 months later, Quincy Jones signs them to Quest Records. They asked me to arrange the record, and that record wins a couple of Grammys. Oh. And it's just amazing how that led to other things. I started doing more orchestral work. Stevie hears from me. Other orchestras hear from me.
What do you
Um,
mean they hear from you? Because now you won a couple of Grammys, which is such a big deal, such an honor, and now you're saying Stevie hears from you. Tell us. I like to dig into those little pieces of the pie that a lot of people brush over. Talk to us about that connection, because I know
yeah.
everybody here is going to be like, okay, Stevie Wonder, we
Okay.
all love him, of course, and you want to know, okay, what's that connection?
So one day, years later, I'm at the university. I'm in my studio working. My secretary calls over to the studio. She said, Stevie Wonder calls you, says he's going to call you back. I said, don't play with me like that. Please
What?
don't. So, truly enough, later in the day, he did call. He said, Henry, I was in Detroit, and the conductor of the Detroit Symphony was telling me about some work that you had arranged for orchestra that they had performed. The conductor had performed. He said, I have these numbers I would like for you to arrange and orchestrate. I'm going to send you a CD. I said, well, what do you want me to do with them? He said, write them for orchestra. It'll be fine, I'm sure. And I'll call you later after you finish them. Well, he sends me a CD with 14 tunes to arrange for orchestra. I didn't know how quickly they had to be arranged. So I'm just taking my time to arrange them, and not knowing. So I get a call. He said, Henry, can you come out? I want to rehearse them. I said, when? He said, can you come out next week? I said, what? So, of course, I rushed to try to get them done. We get them done, printed. We fly out to LA thinking that, okay, he's either going to like these arrangements and say, oh, thank you very much, or he's not going to like them and say, thank you very much.
That's right.
So we get out there and I go into the studio, had not met Stevie. We were rehearsing at Wonderland Studios, and we're there rehearsing. And he said, can you conduct your numbers? I said, sure, I'll conduct my numbers. He didn't know I was a conductor. But little did I know that one of the most famous arrangers in the history of pop music was in the room. Paul Reiser, who you listen to anything from Motown over the years, from Marvin Gaye to the Supremes. He was just the Motown legend when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to all those songs. So I see his name on some of the scores, didn't know who he was. And they said, can you arrange Paul's numbers? I said, well, where's Paul? Oh, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and see if you can conduct his numbers, rather. So I conduct his numbers, go in and sit with Stevie. They loved it. He said, we really like these. He said, Stevie has some more numbers he'd like for you to hear. And he's going to come by your hotel room tonight. I said, what do you mean? He's going to come by. Don't stay up. He'll just drop by. Well,
Oh,
little did I know when he got there, when I got there, rather, they had already got in my room, set up keyboards for Stevie and stuff like that. And I get to my room, all this stuff is there. Stevie comes about 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm there sorting music we had rehearsed. And to make a story that's already very, very long shorter, he asked me, he said, well, I really love what you've done. I love the work you've done. And we have this tour coming up. We'd love for you to go and conduct with us. I said, when is it? Oh, in about 3 weeks.
of
I said,
course.
where is it? He said, in Europe. I said, how long have we been gone? It's about a month. So the university worked with Stevie and they allowed me to go. And what I thought was going to be like a 3-week, a month little tour has turned into 30 years.
Wow.
And the story is that I've always been willing to not chase the money or chase this what we may call success or the hits,
Mhm.
whatever it is, but definitely chasing the opportunities that preparing yourself. And I was just so honored to have someone like that. Little did I know that all the things that I do now with the myriad of orchestras on any given day that I'm conducting around the globe is because of a previous opportunity that I've had to do that. And that's kind of been what I always tell students and others. Do not chase fame or fortune. It may come or it may not come. Uh, but you do need to chase the opportunities and prepare yourself to be prepared to walk through that door when the opportunity presents itself, as you said earlier.
Yeah, your reputation really does follow you, because if you keep doing what you love to do, people will hear about you. I remember when I used to work with publicists back in the day when I was writing my book and doing all this stuff, and people would ask, well, I mean, my publicist was saying people asked him all the time, I don't care how much it costs, get me on Oprah. And they wanted to pay whatever it cost to be on, back when Oprah had her show. And they said, you can't buy that position. She and her producers have to seek you out. They have to invite you on. No, I don't care if you're a billionaire, bazillionaire, you can't buy that spot, which is like unheard of, because most of publicity you can, pay to play type of thing, but not with Oprah. And I remember what he would always tell his clients was, become well known in what you do. Do what you do so well in your neck of the woods, in your city, in your community. Be so good that you create a buzz. And then that's how the producers of Oprah will get wind of something happening. That is, whether it's human interest, whether it's a nonprofit doing something amazing, or whether it's a talent. Create the buzz. So don't worry about that big pie in the sky that everybody wanted to be on Oprah. Do what you do so good that they can't help but notice you.
And
What
I
do you
think
say on something like that?
and I think you're so true. One of the things I always say is that if you have something to offer, there's a place for you.
Mhm.
But you must have something to offer. You must add value.
Mhm.
If you're not adding value, even if you're just replicating what someone else is doing, there's always someone better than you. There's always someone who may have had more experience than you. There's always someone who's better connected than you. But I remember joking that I used to do all these things for love offerings, and there wasn't much love in the offering, you know. but but it's so amazing how even today, when I look around and I think of just the phone calls that I get on a daily basis for this and for that,
Mhm.
and it's because people do feel that I will add value
Mhm.
to what they're already doing. And I'll never forget, we had a really good friend of mine here, and he's worked with a lot of different artists across the spectrum, and I've worked with him many, many years. And one of the things, and we become great, great friends. Most people will know the name Greg Filling Gaines because he's just about on everybody's record.
Yeah.
I met Greg many, many, many years ago, but one of the things about Greg is that this is Greg Filling Gaines, but we are good buddies. We hang together. So there's always someone who can play as well as you, can sing as well as you, can do whatever it is you do. But at the end of the day, will they want to get on a tour bus with you?
Oh,
Will
that's
they
good.
want to get on a plane with you? Will they
Mhm.
want to have a conversation with you and go to
Have dinner
dinner,
with you.
have dinner with you?
Mhm.
And many times it ends up being those people are the ones who will end up getting the job and getting the phone call.
I love that. And speaking of that type of topic, you've worked with some of the greats, and you are one of the greats yourself. And you've worked with like Carrie Underwood and Ruben Studdard. I love American Idol because my daughter did American Idol. And it's such a great, open door for so many people that would have never had the opportunity. You've worked with a lot of cool people. Who is it that you would most want to have dinner with, and why? That you haven't met yet. Who would you most want to?
Wow. I tell you who I admire. I'm really eclectic in my tastes, from a Dr. Dre all the way through to a Barbara Streisand.
Mm.
And there are things about their lives that I either know about or am connected to. But I think Barbara Streisand. I've been thinking about her a lot lately because I'm a big fan of her as a songstress, as an actor, as a
Even a
producer.
businesswoman.
Um, and did some arranging of one of her works last year for a film in fact, the film that won the Emmys, we actually ended up using another song for it, but it was for that production. And I said, boy, this is an amazing song. And I think that her life has been interesting. But, but on any given day, it could be just about anyone. I mean, I spent time with Bootsy Collins. People would think that, wait a minute, you're an orchestra conductor, but you're working with the master of funk, Bootsy
Right.
Collins and Funkadelics.
Yeah.
But to get to know the man
Mm-hmm.
as I did when we did the World Games. It was just unbelievable. The great humanitarian that he is, just the heart, all behind the persona and the glasses and the hat and the beautiful guitars, you know. Um, so I think that it's just kind of hard for me to say one because the list is so long. Now, when I was young, I never really imagined that I would have worked with one of these major stars. But I have such a long list of them on my portfolio. And I promise you, I look back and go like, wow, I work with them. There's not a single day where something doesn't come on television or a record doesn't come on or some kind of award show. And I'm just counting the people I've worked with. And
Isn't that cool? That's
it,
so cool.
it is, but
Learn
it's
so
not in
much
this,
from them.
and it's not in the sense of you're trying to notch off a notch on your belt or
Mhm.
something like that. It's that you have an opportunity to know them. There's a new film out about the greatest day in pop music. Well, where not Lionel Richie and Michael were working to create "We Are the World."
That's on Netflix, isn't it, or
It's on
something?
Netflix right
Yeah,
now,
I just
and
saw an advertisement from them for that.
it is so captivating
I'm gonna watch.
and riveting. But I'm just checking off all the artists in the myriad of genres. One of my latest buddies right here in Alabama that I've become really, really good friends with over the last 3 or 4 years is Randy Owens of the group Alabama.
Oh wow, yeah.
And you know, and they've been stars for such a long time. But it was Randy who presented me my Alabama Music Hall of Fame award, and
Oh,
how honored I am to that he would do that. And you people would think we'd be sitting around talking about music, and Randy and I we're talking about the corn. The raccoon's got the corn in his garden, you know.
that's my kind of conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, the things that we talk about. So to be able to be on a phone call, you know, of course Stevie will call up, and it's never about music really. It's just something that we're just kind of talking about in general. But I think some of the most important artists, when I think about important, I think about being in almost on every continent where there is an orchestra with Stevie and seeing that regardless of where we are in the world, he's always concerned about the plight of whomever is downtrodden, or he's
Mm,
always concerned about how we are being presented and the persona that he is, not for the names, not for trying to preserve his namesake, but because his heart is truly there. So I've been blessed immensely, and I usually don't really have a chance to think about it like this until
mhm.
I'm talking to people like you about it.
We love this, like a little fly on the wall. Talk to us.
Uh,
But when you're dealing with what I think everybody can really relate to, because again, you say this and it's so true. It's not about anyone being, you know, name dropping or whatever. It's not that it's Stevie Wonder or Barbara Streisand. It's people in general that have created their life. I want to say massage their life to do what they love to do and be able to create a career out of it, which is the dream. Whether you want to be the best carpenter, the best realtor, the best photographer, you can be the Barbara Streisand of your industry because you're doing what you love. You're really good at it. And other people want to ask you your opinion and be mentored by you. It goes through all the gamuts of all the industries. And we're talking with you who happens to be in the music business. So I want to ask you, dealing with all these grades, as you are one of them as well, what is some golden nuggets you can share with us that people that are at the top of their game do that others maybe don't or should, to help give those who are trying to rise up in their industry a little kick, a little extra? Here's what they all kind of have in common, or here's their mindset, like the mindset of Stevie Wonder or the Shaka Khan or the Bootsy. Their mindset or something must be different that catapults them to being able to make it in their chosen career that others can do in their chosen career.
There are two things I will address along this front. One is uh, I don't accept no very easily. No does not mean no. Understand something. People will say no for a myriad of reasons, but you have to have enough confidence in yourself that no just means I need to approach this a different way.
Oh, that's good.
And especially if you have not a cocky confidence, because you do need people, but it's just that you know better than anyone else about your own abilities. And so therefore, and what you're capable of. The other thing I want to say is we're in the industry, and I'd like to think I'm a really good musician, but it's my business savvy, my business training, and all the things that I've done there that enable us to have the recording company, the entertainment company, the publishing companies. It is the business of what we do that enables us to do the artistic work, especially when it comes to trying to have a career that's sustainable financially. Now, I decided that I wanted to be a college professor. And that's the one thing I wanted to do early on, once I got to undergrad. But some of the things in the industry, beyond being a college professor, as they begin to develop, I knew that if they were going to be sustainable, that I would have to have the kind of infrastructure. So
Yeah.
typically, most major artists will have a team of people. Now, recognize this. The word team doesn't necessarily mean that everybody has to be on your payroll. Typically, what that may mean, you find like-minded people who have something to offer. They may help you build your team. I've been fortunate to add people to our team as Audio State. The company has grown, but we are very loyal to the people that are around us, and we are very select in who we'll allow to be around us and on our team. And I like to say this too. If you can't add anything to me, and I can't add anything to you, uh, professionally or artistically, then chances are we don't need to be on the same team. And I think that this has nothing to do with friendships. It's that I have a goal that I'm trying to reach. That's every single day of my life. You have to want to put in your 10,000 hours. You've got to be willing to do that. You've got to put the time in. You've got to pay your dues. There's no getting around that. But that doesn't have to be a chore. I'm just excited about learning, achieving, growing, enhancing the things I know as I was when I started out. So most of the people that I'm around in the industry, all of the stars, it's not about being a star. It's about doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
They're just so enamored with being a musician. And Stevie is a technical guru as well.
Is
So,
he?
so we locked really carefully. I've been on a plane with him, exhausted, flying 32 hours to Brunei or somewhere like that. We get there, I'm exhausted. He calls me over, say, Henry, hey, I got this little keyboard. How do you like it? Like a kid in a candy store, still to this day, and that just charges me. I'm going like, well, if he can do that, then surely I can. And so I hope those are some good nuggets for you to
Really good nuggets. And I
for the
really,
artist
really
collective.
stood out that Henry was when you said, yeah, I've heard this because I've been in sales for so long. When you said you just don't take no for an answer, but you said something even extra special. No means you just need to approach it differently. I have not heard that. That was really good. Approach it differently, because if you're meant to do what you're trying to do, I always believe God's given us these desires to do what he's called us to do, and no is what it's like makes or breaks you. There's either those who take those no's, say, oh, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be, or take those no's, approaches it differently, and know that God never said it was going to be easy. Got to pay your dues.
You have to pay your dues. And I think there are two things too, in my observation, two of the most unhappy people in the world are those who, one, may know their purpose and their calling and are running from it,
No.
or those who are lost and never found it.
Hmm.
But the happiest people in the world are those who know what they're called to do, know their purpose,
Yeah.
and they're walking to fulfill it. So that's been my motto. So therefore, the no doesn't mean I just, and you'll know this thing. There are people, for whatever reason, human nature is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm mature enough and have been fortunate enough that I've had enough people to give me, as it were, the rope, the proverbial rope, to go out and, I won't say hang yourself, but I'll say hang yourself. To allow you to go out. It's enough rope to go out and do. But it's amazing how little successes that I thought were monumental, and sometimes they were so difficult that I was like, oh my goodness, if I get through this, I won't try to do that again. But once I go through and I have that achievement, I look back at that thing and I go like, oh, I can do that and more.
Mm-hmm.
That was nothing now. But that allows you to go to the next level, the
Mm-hmm.
next level. And I'll tell you, I will mention the World Games because when I was called to be artistic director of the World Games, it was just first to be artistic director, designing the artistic part of what you see. But then they made me creative director, in charge of everything of what you see, as well as doing
They
it.
should.
And I had a cast of over 500
Wow.
for the World Games: dancers, choreographers, light people.
I remember when you were doing this. We're so proud of
Yes.
you. It's so cool.
But the point being, I had to rely on every business training I'd had,
Mm-hmm.
every artistic experience that I had. It took all of that to
Mm-hmm.
bring that to fruition. And of course, it ended up, over 200 million people seeing it around the world. So but my point being, those experiences, don't frown on the little experiences. You are never too small to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody
Absolutely.
calls you to arrange or play flute at a wedding. Don't feel that you can't play flute at a wedding,
You
but
never
you
know
may
who's at
want
that wedding.
do that wedding, because you never know. You may end up doing the wedding for the royal couple
Yes,
and
you
anyone.
never know. You never know. Dr. Panion, it's also you become like the people you hang around with most. And you are surrounded by people that are really overachieving in their career industry, as you are as well. And there's a lot of people that through the pandemic, and I like to bring that up every once in a while because I talk to people all the time that still haven't bounced back. So they've had major setbacks and they're still now trying to find themselves. And you mentioned that there's those two types of people, those who are running away from their dream or they're running towards it or they don't know what it is. And I've just been coming across a lot of lost people lately that don't know where they're supposed to be. They're really just lost, confused. What is your advice? Because I know you, again, when you're surrounded by brilliance all the time and you are in your element as you should be, what advice can you give to those who maybe don't know now? Maybe they're at that age, maybe they're over 40, over 50, over 60, realizing something's missing and I don't know what it is. What do you say to them? Can you give them any advice on finding maybe their next chapter in their life or
Yeah.
finding that ultimate dream that maybe they don't know what it is yet?
I think that we all know the people around us who maybe can impart positive words of wisdom in our lives. So the first thing, if you're not around anybody who can give you a positive word, you've got to do that. You've got to have someone who's encouraging to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the first thing. But then you got to seek out like-minded people or like-minded circumstances. If you know that you were just interested in quilting and you wanted to do quilting and you know nothing about it, well, you got to seek out organizations
Mentors.
that do quilting.
Mm-hmm.
And I promise you, they're there. And that's one of the beautiful things about the internet. Now, believe it or not, there are some great things about the internet.
There are. You can find anybody.
You can
Google
find
anything.
people. Yes,
People.
you can. And societies and like-minded. And do that first.
I love
And
that.
and they really are. It's just amazing. There's groups, we're big in my family, we're big RVers. So that's a
Oh,
classic example. So as you know, Ari, this is what we do because it's so different from everything I do in the arts. And we've been doing this now for 24 years, whatever it is, since our youngest child. We have four.
where's
Well,
your favorite place to RV to?
Oh, we've gone all over, all over the Eastern Seaboard, the Gulf Shores, just from the tip of Florida all the way through to Texas. I mean, so we've been
So
doing this
fun.
a long time. Our longest trip in RV has been like 6 weeks straight,
Wow.
where
So
we
fun.
just kind of go out with the kids and live it. But we've been doing this for 27 years. But when we did not know anything about RV, we went to an RV show.
Mm.
Then the first thing we did, we started small. We got a little pull behind for our SUV. The kids were young. We start meeting people, and even to this day, we'll be on a trip like we were last. We spent some time in Asheville last summer to get away, and we met people. And I think they're coming through in April. But you begin to develop these societies of people that have a like-minded. You have to do that, and you'll be surprised at what that will yield as far as the steps that you could take. Nothing more than encouraging you. If I know I
Mhm.
want to end up writing symphonies and I want to write orchestral music or whatever it is I want to do, then I need to be around some people who's
Mhm.
done that, study that. So my encouragement, you're never too old.
Amen.
And that is the real key.
I agree.
It used to be that we would think that, well, when I get a certain age, I guess I can get in my rocking chair and rock.
No.
And let me tell you,
Absolutely not.
I
That's
got
yet to
so
come.
I got so checked by that. When I turned 50, I was going through a little health issue, and I was saying, well, I don't have to do as much stuff as I had done before, and maybe I'll just kind of sit and
Slow
rest on
down.
my laurels. And I got checked. I got checked in 1 week. I said, how dare I think that I've been able to progress to a level that I have, and I have a lot to live, a lot more to live. And this was many years ago now. I don't mind telling you, I'm 64. So that's 14 years ago when I was turning 50, right?
Wow.
I'm going like, okay, I'll just, I could have done all these different things and I can just sit, not do much. And I
Imagine.
tell you, I had to correct myself, and I even had to repent, if I can use that word here, because typically most people who we admire, particularly if they're biblical leaders, and then you'll recognize they were well up in the age, perhaps when they did their first greatest work.
That's
So
right.
I said, my first 50 years have been great,
Just
but my
practice.
next 50 years, I'm going to tear it up.
That's right. I love it. And that's so good. I'm so glad you said that. And it leads me right to the perfect segue as we wrap up the show. I could talk to you for forever, but at least, hey, I got your number. We'll talk more. But for our audience, I want to ask you one of my favorite questions to ask on my show is, what is your legacy? Henry, what do you hope is your next chapter? As we're talking about this, you're going to tear it up now. What is next for you, and what do you hope you're most remembered for?
I think affecting change in people's lives, providing hope. It seems like everything I have been doing in the last 5 years, for sure, somehow or another, has had the word hope in it.
Mm.
There was the film Dreams of Hope that won the Emmy, about this parallel story between the lives of those who were lost in the 16th Street Baptist Church and those who lost in the Holocaust. You can see that on PBS. But then there was Hope of Alabama, the theme song for the World Games. There was Send Us Hope, that was commissioned by the Alabama Symphony. And so I think if I can leave a lasting legacy, that people should hold on to hope, regardless of their circumstances, that if we don't have hope, I doubt almost anything else matters.
Mm.
So that's my children may want something else more than hope, but
They're
but
gone.
we'll start with hope.
I love that. And what is one thing that could have stopped you from all of this right here where you are today? What's one thing that could have stopped you but didn't?
I could have stopped me.
Mm.
I could have been in my own way. I had to get out of myself, out of my pride, out of my mind, out of my emotions, even, and pick myself up when I didn't feel like it, when I was not encouraged, when no one around me would even compliment me on something that everybody else outside of those around me were complimenting me on. And once I recognized that perhaps if I could get out of my own way and allow myself to forge ahead, just getting up every day, putting one foot in front of the other one in front of the other one, and chipping away at it, you will look back and you will go, boy, did I do all, was that me? Did I do all of that?
One at a time.
One at a time.
He really did. And you made another great point. It's get those balcony friends in your corner, because you got to have them. And back to Barbra Streisand, the song, people who need people, the luckiest people, because there are no islands. We all need each other. And I even said it the other day to some of my clients, there is no self-made anything. We all have had a foothold, a stepping stone by somebody else, a helping hand. We can be that helping hand when we're up, and we can have a helping hand when we're not as far up. So I always think we're in this middle of this conga line where there's always somebody behind us that we can mentor and bring up, but there's always somebody ahead of us that we can reach up and aspire to be even greater. And I don't care if you're 90, 99, whatever. Keep on keeping on. I always think of one of my favorites. It's Betty White, who kept on keeping on until it was like 99. And that's what I want to be as well. So Dr. Henry Panion, thank you so much for being here. I have just thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, and I know my audience will totally love this as well. Let me put up your website one more time. Right here, henrypanion.com. Get to know him. And thank you so much for inspiring and giving hope to so many people. Keep on keeping on. You're living a legacy, Henry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Until next time, signing off. You go out there and live your greatest legacy so you can earn more, but more